This guy was trekking through the woods when he stumbled upon a secret trapdoor in the ground. Clambering between debris and fallen trees, a German relic hunter was deep in a forest when his metal detector emitted an unexpected signal, and so, brushing away the cold earth and leaf littered from the ground, he couldn't believe his luck. "It was a frickin' door," he exclaimed, "and I think there's some sort of structure down here." The relic hunter, whose YouTube channel, WW2 History Hunter, has more than 140,000 subscribers, made the discovery while hiking in an undisclosed location in rural Germany. His past videos, meanwhile, have documented hidden World War II locations such as strategic bunkers and ammunition dumps. It was a bright but bitterly cold morning in December 2015 when this adventurer began his exploration of an area of German countryside, where he hoped to uncover further World War II artifacts. Equipped with his metal detector and a pair of ski gloves, he subsequently began searching a forest for hints of buried relics and hidden treasures. "Today, it's a forest, but it didn't used to be like that," he explained in a YouTube video about his search. "They had a training facility here. They had all kinds of storage of armory and weapons." Hence, it wasn't long before the relic hunter began unearthing various intriguing objects. Firstly, his metal detector signaled what appeared to be something chunky and definitely iron near the surface. He therefore dug a large hole and found what he believed to be a cap from a French hand grenade. This was then followed by a 1940 bullet cartridge. However, there was something else buried down there, something big, so the explorer dug deeper into the earth with a shovel and then bored into the hole with his fingers. The object he subsequently pulled out appeared to be an enormous shard of bomb shrapnel. "That's because the Allies bombed this area to pieces several times," he explained. In contrast, his next find was a mystery. The pitch of the signal from the metal detector indicated a small object, a cartridge perhaps. However, the object they pulled from the earth was larger than a cartridge, and it also had an attachment shank and thread. "Could be a smoke grenade," guessed the relic hunter. Next he found something even more unexpected, a delicate paper-thin circle of aluminum. The relic hunter claimed that it was a top for a World War II milk bottle. "Quite a special find, actually," he remarked. "You never find them in a complete state like that." Meanwhile, the landscape itself offered tentative hints of the past. Overgrown furrows and embankments appeared to indicate the location of foxholes, trenches, and other wartime structures. Yet it was not here that the relic hunter found the door. In fact, he came across the mysterious door later on while exploring higher ground among the trees. After clearing away a surface covering of earth, he located a large, square metal lid and what appeared to be a hatch leading to an underground structure. A hidden bunker, maybe? Indeed, the European countryside hides a warren of German-built underground structures, particularly on the so-called Atlantic Wall in coastal areas. So what would the relic hunter find here? Inserting his shovel between the door and the frame, he opened the lid a small way. However, the door would not fully open. Instead, the relic hunter peered through a hole in the corner. It was too dark to see anything, so he decided to cover up the hatch and come back another day. Of course, he'd been able to ascertain that there was a large structure down there, but he could not yet be exactly sure how deep it was. 2 months later, though, the relic hunter returned to the forest. This time, moreover, he was kitted out with a heavy-duty chisel, a crowbar, a hammer, some ropes, and a ratchet. The total load of his extra equipment was around 30 pounds, which demonstrated how determined he was to open that door. Unfortunately, this time it was even colder than it had been on his previous visit. "Some people have fun in the snow," he said. "I'm not one of those." Thankfully, though, it turned out that there was no snow in the upper part of the forest where he'd discovered the door. What's more, he had it open in 10 seconds using a crowbar. Firstly, the relic hunter was able to look inside. What would he find? A cache of ammunition? A Nazi control center? Or a hastily abandoned wartime bunker filled with the personal effects of German soldiers? "I have to say, I'm really disappointed," he admitted. "To be honest, I feel like an idiot." In fact, the bunker contained several large pipes and valves. It appeared to be part of a water system. Who and what the system supplied, however, was unclear. It may have been used for supplying local residents with drinking water or for irrigating crops. Alternatively, it could have been built to service the nearby Nazi training facility. Searching the area close to the hatchet, the relic hunter came across a mound, and after climbing on top of the small hill, he found a second hatch, securely bolted down. The shape of the structure suggested a water tank, and on that basis, he formed a new hypothesis in his mind. According to the relic hunter, the presence of the ammunition dumps at the facility would have posed a significant fire hazard. Therefore, the Germans engineered a technological solution, an ingenious fire protection system consisting of a web of underground pipes. It was this supposed infrastructure that the relic hunters claimed to have found. Of course, there is no way to verify his hypothesis without further investigation, although it seems plausible. Ammunition bunkers typically feature some sort of flooding system to be used in the event of fires. Moreover, why else would such a large storage tank have been installed in the middle of a remote forest? However, if the relic hunter is right and those pipes were once a part of an abandoned Nazi facility, whether to put out fires or simply supply drinking water, they must at some stage connect with its underground bunkers and tunnels. Perhaps a future episode of WW2 History Hunter would follow where they lead. One Imgur user, however, made an eerie trapdoor discovery much closer to home, under their own roof to be precise. The man who goes by the name Sir Bumps-a-lot had known that the entrance was there, but hadn't yet had the courage to open it. However, when a handyman finally did pry it open, what lay inside was dark and strange. People go wild in the woods, people go crazy in the woods, and sometimes, inexplicitly, people go missing in the woods. Perhaps that's why one high-strung guy never had the nerve to open the trapdoor in his woodland cabin. Until now. It's certainly a peaceful scene, with sunlight streaming through the windows. But was it a coincidence that the owner of this cabin had positioned a heavy table on top of the trapdoor? Or on the other hand, had he somehow sensed darkly that whatever was down there needed to stay down there, ignored and forgotten? Had the idea of opening it gnawed at his curiosity like an insistent animal scratching to get in? He had, in fact, lain awake in the early hours, sleepless, listening to the nocturnal sounds of the forest, his mind churning over the grim possibilities. Indeed, did he wonder if he would ever muster the courage to do what needed to be done? The cabin owner went by the name of Sir Bumps-a-lot on image-sharing website Imgur. Posting photos of his dark experience in 2015, he wrote, "Never had the guts to open it. Handyman came by and was all too eager to have a look. And so began this unforgiving journey into the underworld." In fact, it soon became clear that Sir Bumps-a-lot had been right to be cautious about opening the trap door. The wood, he soon discovered, was rotten and crawling with venomous funnel weaver spiders. Bites from these arachnids can rot human flesh, so finding a nest of them here wasn't ideal. Of course, killing spiders, no matter how venomous or skin-crawling, isn't just unnecessary and cruel, it's bad luck. So one by one, Sir Bumps-a-lot and the handyman collected every hobo and wolf spider and released them elsewhere. Critters safely removed, it was then time to shine a light on the world below. Was it wise to go looking in hidden places? Yawning beneath them, a hole receded into the darkness. Down there were unfathomable shapes, shadows, and, as they would soon discover, grisly sights that are not easily explained. But first they shone a flashlight to and fro, casting its beam all over the cellar. There were walls, gray and concrete, forming stark outlines and tomb-like enclosures. The air, meanwhile, was damp and tinged with the scent of iron, like rust or perhaps blood. There was a ladder, and down it went into the darkness. "Yeah, creepy," wrote Sir Bumps-a-lot. "There seems to be a faucet and ventilation, a bomb shelter maybe, or a cistern." In fact, he would soon discover the basement may even have served more sinister purposes. Casting the flashlight back and forth, peering closer, he suddenly saw it. A sight so gross and grotesque that it was almost sick-making. Unidentified gnarliness was actually how Sir Bumps-a-lot described it, because in the corner of the room there appeared to be a concrete trough filled with gelatinous slime. In fact, the hideous trough was just large enough to hold a human body. Still unfazed by the gruesome possibility that a tub of liquefied human remains had been rotting under his cabin, Sir Bumpsalot then lowered a stick inside the trough. He began prodding, sensing some resistance. As he did so, broke up the unidentified gooey mass he wrote on Imgur. In fact, whatever had been inside the trough, festering there for weeks or months or years, was clearly an organic substance. The walls of the trough were crusted with scum and mold, and what appeared to be roots, black and tentacle-like, had burgeoned the soup, despite the absence of light. Had any hapless hikers recently vanished in the area? Was there any reason to suspect the worst? As Sir Bumpsalot stood over the open hole, perhaps pondering his next move, did he recall any missing person stories that he may have skimmed over in the local newspapers? What should he do next? He went down there, of course, to find out more. Gripping the rusted metal ladder, he descended step by step into the crypt-like vault. Swallowed by darkness, he cast his flashlight over the walls, the floor, and finally, the trough. In fact, nothing was as it had first seemed. Turns out it was just a tangle of roots soaking in the rusty water, he later wrote on Imgur. Phew! But we also seemed to have some of the Super Mario movie fungus. Looked pretty sinister, dotted with gooey drops of who knows what, sort of nopery. Indeed, a face mask and a machete are essential kit in these circumstances. However, he would soon discover that there was more yet to his basement than mere roots, fungus, and stagnant water. Built as a cellar for cleaning game, maybe, he speculated, cold storage, a bunker, and then casting his light on the back wall, he saw something peculiar. The back wall had a little opening, Sir Bumpsalot wrote. Strange indeed. So what was this ominous hole? Where did it lead? And what was its function? And would he yet come to regret venturing into his cellar? Shining a light inside, he discovered a pile of charred remains, but without any furnace or any boiler or apparatus there, it was not quite clear why anyone would have lit a fire in the basement. Neither was it clear exactly what had been burnt down there. Sensibly, Sir Bumpsalot decided to close the door and reinforce it, so no one falls through into the underworld, he added bravely. Looks like we're going to just have to leave that closed for now and brainstorm possible uses for when the time is right. That sounds like a good job for the handyman. Meanwhile, until Sir Bumpsalot summons the courage to disturb whatever unclean spiritual forces might be lurking down there, he has his dog to comfort him. Hug tight, Sir Bumpsalot, and fear not the dark places.